Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes,
I think
Mahendra.
Dr. Apan should take over the thing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mahendra,
Thank
and
you.
all of the
Thank you,
esteemed
Varghese.
panelists.
That was very informative.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And special thanks to Dr. Varghese, who was prepared so well regarding the air conditioner and this who was shared. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are, Ethan.
Yes.
Okay,
you
now,
are.
yeah, and thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Varghese.
yes.
Yeah, because you have shared a lot of personal information from his experience and research work, and thank you. And I'm sure that will actually help most of the participants to put into their practice. Now, before I move on to my topic of presentation, I would just like to share my views about the air conditioning, the system, because my topic as such is concerning measures about purification of air and how to maintain ventilation or circulation also. So my views as far as air conditioning is concerned, now the queries what we have among our participants would be: one, can I use the air conditioner? Number one. Okay. Now location, whereas as far as the air conditioner is concerned, whether a window AC or a split AC is effective. And if I'm using an air conditioner during the procedure, how should I use it? Is it helpful or is it going to be more harmful? So I'll just take my points on these particular three queries from the participants. I got some personal messages, that's all. I actually will share it with you all. Now, one among, if you compare the efficacy of window AC as well as our split AC, because in a clinic when you're working with a lot of armamentarium inside and with a lot of the warm air, the air conditioner throws out cool air, as you all know, and you should keep in mind the cool air is always heavier than the warm air. The cool air, the particles of the molecules are more tightly packed and more denser. So the one way of keeping an advantage of keeping up a split AC is the throw of air is from the height. From the roof onwards, the gravitational force of the so-called dense air, which is the cold air, will actually create a sort of a pressure or gravity-based pressure on the lighter air or the warm air to be displaced. And if there is an adequate portal of exit, that will again help the warm air to be displaced. So the process of using cold air along with in an area where it is warm air, if there's an adequate exhaust or a ventilation provided outside, will definitely help in gravitational displacement of the warm air, because the cold air of which will pump through the AC is more denser and the molecules are more closely packed. So I would prefer a split AC when compared to window AC, because unless your window AC is located upwards. So that's one thing about the split AC and the window AC. Now regarding ventilation, now as far as providing clean air in the operatory field, there are various methods you should think about it, rather than going straight into the technique or the method what I'm going to talk about, that's HEPA filters or the so-called latest gadgets. We just included that today because many have been talking about HEPA filters, and we just wanted to share you what or how it works and whether it's useful or not and things like that. That doesn't mean the natural simple mechanisms of providing air ventilation, the natural simple mechanism of creating a pressurized situation in the clinic. That is the first and foremost thing that you should be thinking about, rather than purchasing gadgets. Now, for those people who doesn't have the facility in their clinic to incorporate this pressure variation in the clinic, then definitely there's no other option than to think for something else like a HEPA filter, which I'll be talking about. Now, as far as AC is concerned, can I use AC or not? My take is exactly like what Dr. Varghese suggested. Now, in the current scenario, when we have to take so much of protective precautions, wearing all those barriers, it is impossible for us to remain and work with the present outfit what we are wearing without an air conditioner. So if the air conditioner is there, but there are conditions also to use air conditioner. So what conditions should be used for air conditioner is something what I'm going to talk about. Now, the disadvantage of air conditioner is that, when it's located above your working area, there's all possibility that if you're doing an aerosol generating procedure, the aerosol which is actually being generated ranges from the size of 0.5 microns to 10 microns. Now, anything beyond the size of 8 to 10 microns are called as droplets. Okay, so droplets do not go beyond the distance of 2 meters because of the weight it settles down. But aerosol particles, which is actually lighter than the droplets, are the one which is actually being thrown because of the working as the aerator. And again, so that gets carried with the circulating air. So whatever current in the circulating column of air, whether it's a negative thing, whether it's an outwards force, whatever it is going to guide the air droplets or the aerosol particles to which side it should be moving. So based on the method of placing your ventilations, or based on the methods of directing your AC, or based on the methods of using a ceiling fan or using the pedestal fan, it always determine to what extent and to what direction your aerosol is going to get carried out, because we are all worried about aerosol now, and that is going to be the most culprit this time, and that is what we should be able to try to eliminate as much as possible. And if at all anything is created, how to take care and how to guide it in the right direction so that it's filtered out efficiently. That is what I'm talking about ventilation. Now in a closed room, now our aim is to create a negative pressure to some manner or the other, so that always the outside part will be at a different layer, different pressure, higher pressure than the clinic area. So advantages, but if an outlet is provided, by virtue of the natural generation of the negative outside pressure, so the negative pressure inside the low pressure area from the clinic, the air actually or automatically flows to that. So that is a mechanism of providing natural ventilation. So that can be done with two mechanisms. One is the use of an exhaust fan. Now in a closed room, now if there's a circulating air and there's definitely a negative pressure can be created by putting a powerful exhaust fan in one portion of that. And make sure the exhaust fan should not be kept in any point where you enter the clinic. The point of entry into the operatory and the location of the exhaust should be in opposite directions. So that the point of entry, the air what enter, I'll come and show you few pictures regarding that. So at the point of entry is going to get the fresh air inside, and the exhaust should be as much as possible on the opposite side, because after getting it used, it will be actually thrown out. So that unless there is a point of entry of air in the clinic or a ventilation source, there's not much effect by keeping your exhaust fan. That is something again what you should keep in mind. So if you keep an exhaust fan, it will be better if you can put a little bit of a source for a entry of fresh air also. So advantage is basically, even though the negativity or the vacuum effect will be less if you provide another one ventilation, but the circulation part will be better. So if you can provide a small ventilation by leaving one window open on one side and a powerful AC or powerful exhaust fan on the other side, so which actually sucks in air. So that's a method of using a natural ventilation. That's a method of aerodynamics which has to be adopted. And make sure, one thing I am repeating once again, the point where you enter the operatory, if that is the source of your air entry, definitely do not keep any exhaust on that side, keep it on the opposite side. Okay, that is one thing. Then the other method, what I'm talking about, the air conditioner, whenever you're using, what we are worried about is about the aerosol, like I told you earlier. Now, if the one way is basically before your operatory, if the staff comes early and you can leave the air conditioner on for some time, and you can prepare the room with the cool atmosphere. And as the procedure comes in, at the point what we are worried about is only aerosol generating procedures. And what is it that is going to be done in that particular category in the current scenario as emergency? Only exposure or accessing your pulp chamber, or accessing or creating an access cavity. How much time does that take if you're using an aerota? If at all using aerota, hardly or less than 10 minutes, provided you know where to drill and which tooth to drill and how to drill. So it just takes 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes for the actual general AGP procedure. Okay, and one thing what you should realize is, now any tooth which you are cutting or preparing the access cavity other than the anteriors, the head of the aorta is always posteriorly placed. And the throw of air is coming from the posterior aspect or rear entry of the aorta and coming and directed towards the throat, because the air is being directed towards the burr. The burr and the air is being directed towards oropharynx. So there is no direct splash and there is no direct throw of aerosol by virtue of this. What happens is, whatever goes inside, because of the pressure inside, and the reflecting part comes outside. Okay, so as much as possible, whenever you're operating on the posterior teeth, and that too if you're using a rubber dam, definitely aerosol is not a problem. So we are here, what I'm talking about is the use of air conditioner. Now you can use air conditioner till the moment when you start your cutting, your air access cavity preparation. Now just put it off for a while, and again, do not assist ventilation by putting a ceiling. I told you earlier many times, by putting a ceiling fan. Okay, never do that, because that's going to take the aerosol and lighter ones to outer areas, to distant sites, otherwise than which could have been contained in that thing. So air conditioner is always possible to do, But whenever you're putting the air conditioner, make sure the stale air doesn't circulate, like what Dr. Varghese rightly said. To prevent the stale air getting circulated, keep the exhaust on one side and put one entry point, one window if it's open, then that's the best way to do it. You can keep your one window open for a fresh air to enter inside, the exhaust on the other side to throw out the warm air from inside and to circulate the one, and AC can be chalu, can be work, no problem. The problem there is not, you should not be concerned about the efficiency of the motor, because your compressor might be continuously running. Your power charges might be on the rise. But right now what you need is a comfort, a bit of comfort as you do an emergency procedure, because of the unbearable discomfort of wearing a PP. So at that particular point of time, the increased current bill, what can happen for that particular point of time, or the increased consumption charges or consumption load on the compressor should not be your priority at that time. So if you want to work with AC, you can work and you can create one window open on the other side and the exhaust on the other side. And for those who doesn't have an opportunity to provide exhaust or to provide things like that, you should not use air conditioner. That's one thing. And never work with your air conditioner on and the ceiling fan on, because that's going to again throw away the air towards a distant side. These are a few things which I would like to mention, other than the valid points what Dr. Varghese has already said. One thing is about the funda, how it is being used, and make sure your air conditioner filter is clean. I've told you the other day also, because the filter requires a lot of, the dust, lot of dust, and gets absorbed in that, and the efficiency of the air also becomes weak. So once in 3 months or once in 6 months or once in less than that, it's good, or make it a habit to filter the you clean the filter and then keep it properly, so that the air filtration is done properly, or air sucking is done properly, the efficiency of your air conditioner is done properly. So to conclude, as part of this thing, you can work with the air conditioner on, provided you have a ventilation for fresh air on one side and a exhaust on the other side, so that the stale air is removed outside by the pressure variation what you have created within the operatory and the exterior. If you have a closed room, if you don't have an option for an exhaust or an entry point of a fresh air, it's advisable not to use an air conditioner, because you're going to take the same aerosol containing stale air and to distant places in your operatory. So that's my suggestion as far as your closed room or provisions for ventilation is not, and how to use air conditioner. And then another one thing is, in such people who doesn't have this space for an exhaust or something, it's always advisable to don't take up regular AGP procedures, your aerosol generated procedures. You can keep it towards the end of the day, or maybe just before lunch break. So till then, maybe you can, in between, if you're not using an aerosol generated procedure, then there's no harm in using an air conditioner to a certain extent. So your room will be quite cool. So if you space your appointments in such a way that just before your lunch break, one aerosol generated procedure, and the other one towards the end of the day. So if you can keep that way, advantage is, if at all, if you have created some aerosol by working on a patient, that lunch break time is adequate time for you to actually disinfect that area. And the same way, if you're keeping that appointment towards the end of the day, again, the aerosol what you have created there can be easily disinfected by the procedures or which can be done after the clinic. So in between doing aerosol procedures where you don't have a facility for ventilation, do not attempt with AC. That's my request about that. So these are the few things which I wanted to tell about air conditioner and the augmented ventilation. Now, shall we just move on to the my presentation part? I'll share. Has Varghese stopped sharing? Can I share the screen?
Yes, Varghese has stopped sharing, sir.
Okay, so I'll take it up. Well, in between, Mahendra, you can note down any questions that come, so that
I'm noting down.
Well, dear friends, now today, as I think we have lost count of the webinar sessions. The so-called group of COVID-era dentistry has been, with so much of information, so much of input, so much of good inputs from different sectors. So this is my, I don't know what number of webinar, but this is today what I'm going to discuss is one about the airflow and the mechanics, what the basic fund I have actually covered quite a bit of that. So that is one thing which I would like to cover today. And the second part would be about the HEPA filters, the basic things, what you should know about HEPA filters and what are the things you should be worried about. I'm not going into the details of the functioning of a filter or the various types of filter, because I told you HEPA filters as such is quite costly. So whether it's a need of the hour or not, that we have to decide and things. So a basic mechanism of the function and whether how it works and things like that should be only what I'm going to discuss, because it's not a lecture class where I'm talking to engineering students. I'm talking to my beloved colleagues who wants to know whether this is useful and if at all should I invest or not. So my point would be just restricting to the basic functions and the need of filters and the airflow mechanics. And my references are based on this particular booklet. I'll share this if you all want. Then if you don't want, no problem. It's just this is a small book, around 500 pages only. It's on the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, National Guidelines for Infection Control. This is actually come up in the year 2020. It's a January 2020 version. So a few of my inputs, what I've taken here is from the national guidelines, so that I can state it officially and authentically. Whereas the previous messages, what I've discussed about AC was based on my personal opinions and logical things. Okay. Now, this is one picture which I found in the particular manual, which is actually showing an ideal way and do's and don'ts in terms of, planning a clinic. Now, that is not applicable for your I know, because you're already having an existing clinic. But for those who are having a clinic which can be altered in terms of design, it would be actually nice if we can incorporate this basic aerodynamics mechanism, in which now what this say is basically now what is marked as red, that is your dentist or a healthcare worker. Okay, healthcare worker is what is marked in there. I'm getting some
yeah, I'm muting also.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can continue, I think. Yeah.
Yes, please.
You spared me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, spared you.
Thank you. So basically, this is, I'm talking about the red one. What you see is you or the dentist or the healthcare worker, whatever setting it may be. And this is your area. Don't think about the design, but think about your area of work. And this is how the room should be. I'm not talking about the exact design of the room. I'm talking about the basic funda, what our ideal airflow should be. Now, this is your entry. Okay. And now this is basically now the window of the exhaust. Now, what they say is, suppose the air entry, once you come inside, now this is the patients who's having, contaminated work or contaminated materials and things like that. Now, the airflow after this is going to come over you and then go outside. Okay, if you are seating like this. But if you alter the seating in such a way, in a different scenario like this, what you can see, the advantage is you have an exhaust or the way out of the airway outside, because if this is your inflow, I'm telling you, every clinic operator should have a point of entry of the air and another point of exit. That would be the ideal scenario. I'm not asking you to break your walls and make artificial walls in that hole in the present scenario, but then an ideal scenario would be a point of entry of the air and another point on the opposite side for the exhaust. That would be the ideal way. So advantages, and your position and the placement should be in such a way that the work area or the contaminated work area should be more towards your exhaust area. So advantage is the clean air which is coming from inside, okay, after getting contaminated by your work on this side, gets exhaled outside or pushed outside. That's a basic funda of designing as far as ventilation is concerned in the clinic. I don't know how much possible for those who already have a design in the clinic, but this is basic funda what you should remember. If it was this way, that's why they shown it's the worst situation there, because your healthcare worker is actually facing all the air, the circulator's tail air, and before the air is going outside. So this would be an ideal design. That's a basic logic if you keep in mind. Need not actually go and just break your chair and get into all the settings. But funda is an inlet entry should be there, an exhaust air point should be there on the opposite side, and patient seating should be towards the exhaust rather than the entry point, so that after the work the tail air doesn't compact the clean air zone. That's a basic funda. Just keep that in mind. Well, now this is something which I would like to bring to your notice. One terminology which is called as ACH. Okay, that's nothing but air exchange or air change rate per hour. That means in a particular prescribed volume of the operating room, how many times in 1 hour the air contained in that can be circulated. That is what is talking about when I talk about ACH. That means the amount of air which is able to be refreshed and circulated per hour. Okay, that is what I'm talking about when I talk about ACH. Now, the same thing has got, there's another one terminology called CADR. I haven't mentioned here. It's called CADR. It's nothing but clean air delivery rate. CADR, clean air delivery rate. That's also again another one terminology. ACH is also another terminology. It means, basically air circulation or fresh air circulation per hour. Okay, that's what it means. Simple as that. Now, this particular guideline, as per the Government of India Ministry of Health, is given is now sittings like an inpatient departments or outpatient departments, a minimum of 6 or more air circulations per hour is required. That means if you divide 1 hour into 60 minutes and more than 6 times per hour means 60 divided by 6, so 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes there should be a facility to rotate or to freshen up the entire air what you have in the column. So that is a situation that you should think about if you are going to buy or invest on something, and you should see the efficiency of that, because every unit will have a specific ACH. Okay, or that will be mentioned on that. So the air change per hour will be mentioned on that. So the recommended, if you see in the medical setup, the airborne precautions room, they actually talking about more than 12 air exchanges per hour. Just imagine in a 60-minute time, if they are talking about 12 air exchanges, that means every 5 minutes, the entire air column has to be filtered and fresh air has to be brought inside. So that is a recommendation, but actually what they're talking about in hospital setup, where there are airborne precautions. But we are also not anything lesser, because with the air otter and with the air otter we are producing, even though this particular is actually applicable to us, but at least a minimum recommended ACH, if you are planning to go for some air purifiers, is more than 6. So 6 to 10 ACH is basically recommended. Okay, now how do you calculate? You might be, don't bother to read all these things, but then just remember this thing. So anywhere between 6 and 10 ACH. What is ACH? It is the air circulation per hour. What is air circulation per hour? It's the number of times the air in that particular specified volume of the room is circulated in 60 minutes. Okay, just remember that. Now, how will you calculate? Now, everyone will be having different set of different areas for your clinic operating. I'm talking about the operatory. I'm not just talking about the reception, the lab area, or the rest area, or the restroom, whatever. I'm just talking about the operatory area, where in which your chances are there to do a procedure, or where there's all likelihood of creating a aerosol procedure. Now, it's all measured in volumes, and volume is nothing but your room car length into width into height. Okay, now you might be measuring in terms of feet, you might be measuring in terms of meters, whatever the type it is. Now I'll just give you an example of how to calculate your volume of air in the room, okay, based on measurements in feet. So suppose if your clinic operating areas is 10 feet width, 10 feet length, and 10 feet height, the height between the roof and the floor. So if you have a 10 feet into 10 feet into 10 feet, so your volume would be 1,000 cubic feet. Just remember that, 1,000 cubic feet. Now all these ACH, or what I'm talking about, the efficiencies of the filter units are mentioned in terms of meter cubes. Here we are calculating in cubic feet. I'll tell you how to do that. Now all the standard equipments are coming in, expressing their ACH in terms of meter cube. Now this is simple for you to just calculate, because most of you will be familiar with the feet. That's what I'm telling you. So I'll tell you how to calculate. Now we have an area or a volume here. The area means it's only length and breadth, and when you multiply it with the height, then it becomes a volume. Okay, so area is in square centimeter, whereas your volume is in cubic centimeter, cubic feet. So you have an area, a volume of 1,000 cubic feet. Okay, now 1 cubic feet is equivalent to 0.28 cubic meter. This is basically how to convert your cubic feet volume available into a cubic meter. So if 1 cubic feet is 0.28 cubic meter, you have 1,000 cubic feet, suppose, volume. Now how will be the actual part? So since you have 1,000 cubic feet, 1000 into 0.028 will be 28. So your available volume in meter cube or cubic meter would be 28. I hope I'm clear about that. Okay, nothing but the length and the width and the height in whatever unit. If the cubic feet, convert it into meter, cubic meter. So you have a final cubic meter value of your clinic if you're 10 feet into 10 feet into 10 feet. So your 28 cubic meters is the volume of the air. Okay. Now see.
Sir, we have lost you. We can't hear you.
Ethan?
I think he's up again. Oh.
No, we can't hear him.
I think he's logging in again.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's logging
No
in.
problem.
Okay, and Varghese,
Yeah.
I'd like to have a small discussion regarding that. Is
Yeah.
there any air conditioners which only takes the outside air and pushes in and does not recirculate the air?
Sir, then
Right.
the concept of air conditioning doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, fine.
great.
I think Dr. Epan is back. Welcome, sir. Welcome back, sir.
Very good question. Even I was thinking of the same.
I'm muted. I'm unmuted.
Done, sir. Done.
So the type of machinery what Mahendra just suggested, something which takes in and takes, that particular machine is actually called a conditioner, not an air conditioner. You can't call it because, like what rightly Varghese said, the funda of air conditioning doesn't work. That's right. I mean, where did you lose me? This calculating the volume was
No, it was done, sir. You came to the air exchanger. This is
Yeah,
your
that's
seat.
me.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
me.
So all of you might be now aware about how now this would be the specification of the unit what we are purchasing, and your area, your volume is 28 cubic meter. So I already told you what is the requirement of your ACH as per the guidelines, 6 to 10 ACH. Okay, so if you calculate this, you will understand that 280 is the meter cube of the per hour of the unit. 28 is your volume. If you calculate that, your ACH is 10. What is the recommended ACH? 6 above onwards is an effective thing. Okay, so I hope you understood the calculation, because mathematics is always a problem for everyone from the younger days itself. So it's simple mathematics. I don't know how much I'm troubling you on this late hours with so much of mathematics.
Thank you for taking so much effort to clear this calculation, sir.
There
There are many poor mathematicians over here. Thank you, sir.
Even I thought I used to be one, but then I started and then realized how good I am later. Okay, that's well. Let me just continue. So I hope this is clear how you can calculate. So what you have to know is, number one, your volume of the operatory, that is length into breadth into height in terms of meter cube. The particular person who comes to you and markets you with all those sort of temptations and EMIs and don't worry, sir, I will put it on cost sharing basis, I pay half, you pay half, so many things they'll be offering this time. Don't just fall into all that things. Okay, just ask the ACH, the rate, or the CADR rate, and then you have to have something between 6 or 10 ideally for you to have. So there's nothing like standard, because you are targeting the 6 to 10 ACH. Depending upon your volume of the air, you will have to use 1 unit or 2 units or even 3 units, depending upon the ACH of that particular unit. I hope you have understood that. Okay, so this is how you should calculate your volume, and this is how you should actually come there. Now let us move on to the, now we have an idea about what is the requirement as far as an ideal ACH is concerned. You should be targeting somewhere between 6 and 10 ACH if you want the air to be properly cleaned and filtered. Second, you should always ask for the ACH or the CADR of the unit to know, and then calculate your based on the volume and see whether it is falling in that 6 and the 10 ACH category. If it is not falling, if it is lesser than 6, then do not engage that, or do not buy that particular, do not entertain that marketing fellow. If it is less than 6, then you have to take money from him for wasting your time, for spending time with him. So basically, based on that, so keep in mind, so 6 to 10 is your ACH targeting and your area onwards. Okay, that's what I was. Now let us move on to one or two, because why I'm telling you was, see, once again, before I move on to these products, let me tell you once again clearly a disclaimer. I do not have any affiliation with any companies. I do not have anything hatred for any of the companies. I always strongly believe on scientifically evident basis and the practicalities what one can apply in the current scenario, rather than jumping into all sort of different assumptions. So don't be hasty. Now all this literature materials are available in the on the website. So when someone tells you something, please take some time just to click and just go search and then find for yourself. Once you are convinced, then definitely you could be a person who could be guiding somebody else with a similar doubt. So basically, that's how you should go. Don't just listen to what we just say. Just go to the net. If you should cross-check. We are not people who can just give you golden birds. We are giving from our knowledge and little bit of experience. We might be wrong also. So you have to just cross-check these things, make sure it is clarified for you, and then adopt. I'm not just talking about just this filters alone, for anything for that matter. I always used to tell my PG students, when we learn something, the two things that should come in mind is why and how. For everything, there's a question, why and how, because your brain should, rather than just listening or hearing to your teacher and just, just mugging it up and registering it here, that's of no use. Whether if you understand and try to understand why this particular, why that happened and how that happened, and you interpret that, then definitely that's going to be get registered here for every time. So everything works in the clinic, one based on either medicine or whatever fundas on physics, everything is based on funda. So that funda, if you come here, definitely it is going to help you out in the long run. Well, I'm just taking one or two products. Now, this is basically one product which is actually from Sharp, I think. Yeah, they have given a quote of a 20,000 range or 20,000 plus range. Okay, and they do the basic thing. What you should understand about this, all these uses HEPA filters. HEPA is nothing but high efficiency particulate aspirate or high efficiency particulate air. So basically, what they do is they filters the atmospheric air. It's something like your N93 mask. The N93 mask, the filtration is 0.3 microns. So what they say is 95% of efficiency is there for N95 mask to a pore size or the microbial size of 0.3 microns. Similarly, these products which are using HEPA, a true HEPA, I'm talking about not HEPA-like filters. Don't just fall for the different HEPA-like. Never fall to terminologies like HEPA-like. True HEPA is fine. True HEPA is fine. So get the validities, get the certifications, and then only you can, because these are all costly things which you are going to put into. You can't just use it anything else for that later. So always make sure you know things and you learn things. So HEPA filters actually ideally ranges from 0.3 microns. There are super HEPA filters which actually particulate matter or filters the matters to much smaller size. I'll come to one unit which I have actually gone through, and according to what they have come to, they have actually gone to a filtration size of 0.0024. Okay, the size of your coronavirus ranges from the size 0.06 to 0.14, in that range. Okay, HEPA filters is 0.3, is much more smaller than the size of a corona. But then again, corona mechanism, Brownian motion and all, that's how they are effective. I'm not going to those later. So basically, so there are HEPA filters which has got built-in efficiency for for less than 0.3 microns particles too. And this is how the mechanism is, and I'll just tell they actually do have so many filters. This particular unit, what they are claiming, is meant for 220 square feet. Now, when they're claiming about 220 square feet, remember how many square meter it is. If the conversion formula, you can use that, or I'll post the conversion formula in that our group later. So convert it and you see whether it's fitting for your ACH, so that it should fall between 6 and 12. 6 and 10. Okay, that would be an ideal thing for you. Otherwise, it's just a waste of money. That's all I'm telling you. This is how the various things you can have various types of filters. In that various layer by layer it goes. It starts filtrating from higher size particles, then smaller size particles, and then smaller and smaller. That's how it actually filters. And then in this context, I would like to talk about another one product which I actually found about the literature part, which I was maybe a little convinced based on the claim what they have placed. Okay, now advantage of these things basically what I've seen is this is a product called Atmosphere Mini. The other one is from Sharp. This is another one company. Well, now see, this is something what you should keep in mind as far as this is concerned. Now, this particular apparatus uses a HEPA filter which is above the filtration property of a regular HEPA, and they can actually filter to a microbial length size of 0.0024 microns. Your coronavirus actually fall into the size of this 0.11 microns average. Okay, and you see the filtration property of this particular HEPA filter used in this particular unit is very, very more effective as per their claim. I do not have any experience using that. That's their claim. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That is the filtration size. If you see, they can, to the size of 0.0234 can be done with that. And they actually use something called as, something other than your regular HEPA filters. See, this is regular. I told you 0.3 microns is a regular HEPA size, whereas this particular app uses a higher grade of HEPA filter, and actually they claim to have a better efficiency in terms of filtration than the regular HEPA filters. And they claim that they can filter from up to 0.0024 micron, that too with an efficiency of 99.99%. Okay, that is what they're suggesting. And other than the microbes, they do, filter a lot of other pathogens and particulates and other gaseous components and odors and things like that. Now, if you see, these are the different types of filters which when you pass through, the first one actually captures the bigger particles like, hair and dust and other things like that. Because we might be all focusing upon corona only, but mind you, the atmosphere is mix of everything. Corona is something we just keep us on our toes, but then there are plenty of other things also. So the first one actually captures bigger size ones, and the second one is the one which calculate or traps the other microbes like bacteria, virus, and more, and other fine things, which is extremely fine one actually filters or reduces even the gases, contaminants, and various other odors. That's what they suggest. And they also claim that they have all these the 300 plus pathogen and other type of grains and things like that is what, according to their claim, they filter efficiency with 99.97% according to that particular company. It's not comment by Epen Thomas. Please don't quote me for this. And of course, various other gaseous components also as part of our routine atmospheric pollution. Now, this is what I was talking about, the clear air or clean air delivery rate, because some people use, instead of ACH, they use this terminology called the CADR. Okay, the CADR of this particular unit is 220 meter cube per hour. Now, according to that, depending upon the area of the thing like that, they can say they actually 5 times in an hour, 200 square feet from. So depending upon the area, as the area increases, you can see the number of times reducing, isn't it? Because the efficiency comes down. For example, if your clinic area, this is just basically a domestic, don't worry about the shape and the size of the thing. There is no resemblance. Just imagine that is a square feet area. So if it's a 200 square feet area, they say it actually, sort of 5 times in an hour they do that. And then if it's 244, as the size of the clinic goes by increasing, the amount of available air column is increasing. Now, naturally, the frequency of filtration is also reducing. That's why you find a reduction in the number of filtration per hour as the size of the room increases. Okay, that is something what you have to remember. But then remember, if whatever you're using, a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes required between patients. So basically, if you think about the other advantages of this particular thing is basically what they say is it's a lightweighting. It's 5 kgs only. The unit is 5 kgs only, and then the consumption is supposed to be 38 watts. Again, nothing when compared to other things. That is something like your regular fridge consumption only. Another advantage of that is that the apparatus can be operated on the mobile. So before if you have a Wi-Fi connection with your clinic and the unit is connected by Wi-Fi, and then before you reach the clinic, you can put your filter on, so that once you enter inside, the air whatever already is there would be actually really filtered as per the claim of the manufacturer. So that's again a remote assistance is possible. And one thing what was attractive for me is what they suggested is about the 31 rupees per day is only the cost, which is actually, so what they say is they have this filter and the electricity current, everything together. Now, how they have worked out is based on an use of this filter for a period of 10 or 11 years. Now, if you see, sorry, now if you think about the cost of this filter is 49 rupees. I just went through the details of that. It's about 49,000 rupees. Now 49,000 rupees filter or the unit, and it's the mechanism is you put it on and off, and they give you amount of dust particles inside and the efficiency and all that. And once in 11 months, what according to them, the filter has to be changed. The filter cost is 5,000. So in 10 months, okay, in 10 months time, you would have removed 11 filters. So 11 into 5, 55,000 rupees in 10 years time. I'm talking. Okay, the filter has to be changed once in 10 months. So if you use it for 10 years, around 11 filters has to be changed. So I'm just doing the split up based on a 10 years calculation. So 10 into 5,000 per filter is 55,000 rupees you have spent for the filter in the 10 years time. And then you have spent about 60,000 rupees for your 50,000 or something for the unit. So you have spent around more than 1,01,000 rupees towards the purchase and the maintenance of this efficient unit to practice over a 10-year period. So that divided by 366 days is their calculation of 31 per day. Okay, that is as far as the literature, what they say, and the things I said. So it sounded quite okay for me, but as far as cost is concerned, I am not at all for it. So I won't actually recommend, but the efficiency is there for those who can afford to have. Definitely, it's a good buy, a good deal, whatever it is, because when you compare the efficiencies, and no one actually gives an efficiency of a filtration to the tune of 0.0024. No one actually gives you a cost effective that much workout how they have given in this for each scenario. So that's in brief. What I have.
Sir, I like to have a small clarification at this point.
Please.
Sorry for interrupting.
No
if
problem.
the filtrate size is like 0.0024 or something like that, won't it get clogged so easily? For example, you have a SIG with a small micropores, so the clogging happens very easily. So does it recommend, like
See,
even with the 0.3 HEPA, it has been found that it has been more efficient in filtering the viruses and other things.
Yes.
So like how does it really advantageous? How many
because what they claim. Now the question was regarding the claim regarding the filtration of the HEPA that they use, because if they even filter to the minutest of the minutest thing, won't they get clogged and won't they become malfunctioning earlier? That was the question of Dr. Mahendra.
Yeah.
Now to that, let me say, now what they say is, now the efficiency of that filter will definitely be useful, and they say what they can do is in 6 months time, 6 to 10 months time, you have to change the filter once. They claim that particular clogging, logically, if you think what you are very much right, Mahendra,
yes.
And then as far as their experience and as far as their recommendation is considered, it stays for 10 months time. The filter needs to be changed once in 10 months time. So for a period of 10 months, it actually shows the efficient property as what they have suggested. And they do have a meter and recordings on the unit itself, which actually gives you the amount of filtration efficiency as depending upon the clogging things and all. So logically thinking, you are very right in what you said, a valid point. As far as the manufacturers and as far as their claim, they claim that 10 months it stays without a thing. Maximum 9 months, and at the minimum is 9 months. So that's what they say, 9 to 10 months time. The once in a while filter has to be changed. That's what they say. These are all something only if you get some experiences of people who have used, we can take it for granted now. Because otherwise, all these manufacturers now are all talking about these things. So many things come into the market. So I just brought you a notice because everything what I've seen actually talks about 0.3 microns filtration. And now this is the only thing which
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
I have a question, Ethan. See, I am using a very similar unit at home. So I bought this about 10 years ago, and it's working perfectly fine. So what we do, we remove the front compartment and we
wait a minute. You are telling that you have used this product?
No, not this product. Not this product.
Similar product.
It's a different product from Daikin, which I've been using at home. So, but the filtration capacity is not so good as you have mentioned here.
Okay.
And what I did was, what we keep doing, we keep removing the front compartment, and then we access the filter. The filter is removed, and we use a vacuum cleaner to clean it up completely, wash it thoroughly, and then we put the filter back. Now, is something like that possible with this particular machine, or
no.
it is important that you keep changing the filter once in 11 months?
Now, I would like to comment on that, what Prashant rightly pointed out about cleaning the HEPA filters.
Sir,
please.
The cleaning of the filters is recommended by the manufacturer.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Yeah, it is not. It is probably not recommended then.
Because the HEPA filters are so delicate. that even
Yeah.
the installation, if it's not done properly, can give you trouble. Now the HEPA filters are installed in such a way that there's a fitting in the area, and you put that area, and in between the washer or the gasket, if any bit of movement here and there, if it's not fitted properly, that micro leakage could be good enough to prevent from effective efficacy of your filtration. And these are so gentle, and even the claims have said that just by transport, you order by courier, something just simple transporting can spoil the property of the HEPA filters. And by import of like sort of a manhandling or not rough handling, all these things can again. So it is not at all recommended to do a self cleaning or self-servicing of HEPA filter. If you want to be called as HEPA filter, it will be called definitely, but the efficiency of that will not be. Now, if you have done it for so many years, I would recommend Dr. Prashant to check the efficiency, and I'm sure that won't have the same efficiency what the company had floated it that time, because we don't have data for that. Something like that. So my recommendation, if you are going for HEPA filter, you should not doing it yourself. Get specialists for that. Do not do any cleaning or washing or sucking or sort of any brushing up for the HEPA filters, because they are very, very sensitive. It's not like the regular your filter what you see outside your AC. So do not do that, because you might compromise something like soiling or your N95 mask. On appearance it will look like a mask, but then the filtration property is gone, and then definitely it's not a good barrier. Same way, this is the same problem can happen. So I don't have any experience using that. Why I brought you is basically because among all the sort of counterparts, I found this to be a little bit more in terms of opening up with so much of their details, minutest details and things like that. I'm not at all vouching this for those. So I just brought to the notice of the people that there are things available in the market which can range from anything to the other side. So depending upon the choice, depending upon your practicalities and the feasibilities, take opinion from anybody who has purchased this, get an opinion from those people, and then make sure things are right for you all, your finances are right for you all, and then only actually think about investing in this. I just
Dr.
Ipan,
let me ask you one question.
Please.
See, is there any volume of the room related to the size, the filter, HEPA filtration unit?
Yes. I only meant that's how the volume and the calculation I mentioned earlier.
I know, but then that is for the AC you were talking about.
No. That is for the filtration.
That's for filtration. That's for the air filtration, because the air filtration rate and AC is not what the calculation was everything for the HEPA filter based equipment what you're going to procure.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Right.
So that volume.
This recommendation for this Atmosphere Mini.
No, not recommendation. Please don't take me wrong. No recommendation.
No, I'm speaking about the company's recommendation, not yours, sir. You can be relaxed.
Okay,
so
fine.
This recommendation to change every 10 months is for what's the size of the room? What's the standard they compare?
That's what
that's based on the square feet. See, the square feet area, if it is
the
not
recommendation to change the filter every 10 months is based on what room size?
If you want to maintain that same ACH, if you want to maintain, because depending upon the room size, you might have to procure 1 or 2 HEPA. Remember that one is not a standard applicable for every room.
Right.
So based on the size and the volume, you might require 1 or 2. So depending upon because if you want to meet that 6 or so-called, I told you that between 6 and 10 range is the ideal thing. So at least 6 is the minimum ACH what is required. So if you want to maintain that ACH, you should be having only that much volume. If your room size is bigger than that, then you have to keep 1 more HEPA. Only then you can be effective. So that
and there is a provision to analyze the efficacy of the filter also in this machine. That's what you were saying.
True. They have
Yes.
they always gives an indicator how bad your filter is. See, these are all claims by this, but then nobody has given that much detail of claim and the project workout, the actual cost, and how.
Sir, how old is this machine in the market, sir?
I don't know. It's about maybe 6 months or 8 months. This is something manufactured by Amway company. It's called.
I think Dr. Faiz is also commenting about this product. I think I remember. Dr. Faiz, sir, you are here.
Yeah.
Sir, any idea about like how long the product is in the market or any other participants?
Yeah, I will see. There was a agent from Amway who did contact me and mention about this. I believe this was introduced sometime in last September.
Okay.
The company has been manufacturing these filters since 1996, but it has come to India only last September. This was what they told me.
Okay.
It's definitely an efficient one, but my question is, Ipan, now when you consider the COVID scenario,
yes,
we have been working perfectly fine, and we've been using various kinds of filters. Don't you think it's even more important to consider a proper extraoral suction.
Well. You're coming to
before-
that. You're coming to that again. Definitely, we'll come to that. Let me just finish
Yeah.
this. Now, this is.
I think that deserves even more importance.
And I'll tell you that that comment. I want to answer that. I want to answer. We just finish this. Basically, this is about the HEPA filters and things like that. And just now to conclude, like what I have to say to you all is basically now your clinic. Go back to your clinic, see how it is. Like what Dr. Varghese was telling, you should know how and where and from the air comes and to where the air goes. The simple ways to find out is like, I'm not recommending you all to smoke in your clinic, but if you just generate some smoke, okay, without putting the fan, and you can see the direction of the smoke where it goes. And if it's a too light tissue paper or a small light cotton fibers, if you just put in the air, you can see where it goes. So that actually gives an idea of the passive mechanism of the pressure variation in your clinic. So that actually lets you know what is the actual direction of the airflow in your clinic. And if that can be corrected, or if it is in the right position, like if it's in the right way, like I told you, fresh air to the work area, and if it's going outside, then that is right for you. That's the correct way. If it's not the other way around, if your exhaust thing is coming back to your work area and your clean area, then try to make some arrangements to make the aerodynamics. So aerodynamics is a simple thing that has to be kept in mind to make sure that there is a
Dr. Eapen, Dr. Anand Disen.
Please.
Actually, according to CDC guidelines, the ACH is 10. ACH recommended is 10, and the corridor or the adjacent room, corridor and the room, the pressure difference should be minus 2.5 pascals, which is monitored using a differential pressure monitor.
Yeah.
So what you told is a dimension wise, that I'm just giving you another reference from the CDC. It is minus 2.5 pascal pressure difference between the corridor and the room, which will help to maintain a ACH of 10.
So it's basically, the ACH of 10 is actually facilitated by two things. One is about creating a proper ventilation and exit. The second one is by using a proper efficient filter, which can have the ability to regulate or circulate and filtrate and at this particular rate. All these factors plus everything will depend upon the volume of the air and of course the amount of pressure what is existing within the operatory and the outside. Like what Anand rightly said, negative is actually what is required, because unless that negativity is there, there is no suction effect on the air inside, which actually takes the hot air outside. And as far as recommendation of 10, I would say, even I mentioned here in my presentation also, even the Indian government also recommends airborne precautions to be 10. I mentioned in that slide of mine, but then that is not practically possible. So at least an OPD possible, and the remaining thing is at least 6. At least 6 is what I showed in the red box. So try to think of something, at least 6 ACH will definitely help you, along with augmented ventilation, wherein which you put up an exhaust, because your HEPA filter alone is not going to be a solution. That has to be assisted and augmented with supporting an exhaust fan, which helps you in creating a self-negative mechanism and an entry point of a free entry of air. This has to be combined, otherwise this is not actually mentioned. Then that is where what Dr. Mahendra was telling about the amount of pollutions and blocking comes faster. So it's about aerodynamics.
Yeah,
please.
One more thing I would like to add is, Varghese rightly pointed out that you keep a filter above the AC in window AC, I mean split AC. Like according to CDC, 25 GSM Melbourne satisfies 95% bacterial filtration efficiency. So the thing like he told, the 3M product, it's really helpful, I feel, because 25 GSM Melbourne satisfies 95% of BFE, that is bacterial filtration efficiency.
No, that's Melbourne things and all comes when you talk in terms of the surgical gowns and aprons, because it's a mask, and because that doesn't actually apply when you're talking about your HEPA filters. Now that is in terms of I already put in the group the difference between the non-woven fabrics. You can have a Melbourne, you can have a spun blonde. So basically you can have a spun. So these are two different types of. We'll talk about that later.
So I think we should go ahead. We can have some
sir, I
discussions
just
at the
want
end,
to. I just have one thing to ask about the filtration of HEPA filters. I'm Dr. Ashish Shah from Mumbai. Sorry to interrupt.
Hi, no problem, Ashish.
Hi. They are always mentioning these HEPA filters in terms of the MERV units. So MERV 7, MERV 11 plus, MERV 13 plus. what exactly should be the HEPA filter level we should be looking at, or we
See,
should not be thinking about that? It's just
there's
a
no
marketing.
harm. There is no harm in thinking about it, because for thinking you don't have to pay any money. So there's no harm in thinking about it. We can think, dream big, no problem. Now, as far as what unit has to be thought in mind, because this all this ACH or the CADR, what I'm talking about is air circulation per hour is ACH, and CADR is clean air delivery rate. They are all
Right,
mentioned in
right.
terms of meter cubes. So whatever unit is mentioned in the HEPA, what you're suggesting, right, they would be having a conversion ratio into meter cubes, or they should be some having a conversion factor, because like for example your shirt size in Excel, everything has got a parallel. Same way
I'm
they will.
sorry to interrupt. The MERV is the unit of the fineness of the filter. MERV, that is what they say. So if you see from CHESA also, they claim it is a MERV 13 plus filter, HEPA filter.
No, you check for the filtration rate. Now you check for the efficacy of filtration up to what microns. These are all things to just fool us, telling us some units which we haven't heard about, and all of a sudden we have to search and all that thing. You're giving us more and more job. No, basically, no problem. Think about, ask them the filtration property in terms of micron size. Simple as that. Even N95 doesn't give you that sort of units like MERV or MERV Hughes or whatever it is. Even N95 and everything talking in terms. We are talking about a threat about a virus, the size of which is expressed in terms of micron size. And let us have something, any barriers which they can express in terms of micron size. If they do not express, that means they are gimmicks and they're trying to fool us. Don't fall into that.
Perfect. Agreed. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, this again, augmented ventilation, I already told you about. HEPA should never be a primary in this thing. Your basic aerodynamic principle and augmented ventilation with your regular exhaust fan and windows open should be put into picture, and only in those places where you don't have a facility for an exhaust fan, only in those places where you don't have a facility for creating this sort of aerodynamics and natural or augmented ventilation, you have to think about HEPA. That also with the knowledge that HEPA is not going to give you that sort of a protection as it was in a situation where you could actually implement aerodynamics and augmented ventilation also. So HEPA is always most effective and the best effective when it's also assisted with these. So HEPA alone in one particular clinic area, don't ever expect the so-called 99% filtration or anything of what they said, but that's something better than nothing, because you don't have any other option to create some sort of a fresh air or circulation. Then definitely HEPA is actually a choice for you, with the inherent disadvantages what I mentioned earlier, along with the spacing the appointments and other procedures so that the airborne particles are actually removed. Well, cost definitely versus benefit is something the need of the hour, and I would request all of you to just not jump into sort of the conclusion of the highlights what they always project. All these products, they bring about something nice, colorful thing, and the highlight thing, it gets stuck there in that, and that you go for it and things like that. Don't do that. So let us actually think, because we are the ones who's going to buy. The money is ours. The current situation for the past 1.5 hours is something we hardly have any money with us in terms of earning, other than those who are having the backups. So we are in a situation to think actually so much about our own expenses, what are the changes, what has to be brought into the clinic, the damages and the liabilities associated with that. All these are concerns. So do not ever invest in anything, which I always tell, which is not going to give you any benefit in terms of scientific evidence and in terms of your style of practice. So always weigh the cost versus benefit. And of course, everything has to be in addition to the standard operating protocols. When I talk about standard operating protocols, what I mean is the basic.
I think we lost Dr. Epen again.
No, yeah. And the price of this particular unit, what Dr. Epanish, Epan sir, you're back?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Now we can.
No, we can. Go ahead, sir, please.
Okay. Now, that is what the message what I had to tell you is, because you might don't get flattered with what my presentation or the slides or the quality or the content or the filtration rate or whatever these people say. Think based on your situation, your clinic design and layout with the basic fundas and the basic logics. Be practical. Think about what you're going to do tomorrow based on the current things what you have, and have a proper paka plan before jumping in. You collect all information. There's no harm in listening to messages, you're listening to forwards, but then you should be the one who should be actually scrutinizing and then decide whether that is the right thing for you in the right situation. Main thing, practice safe, stay safe, and stay healthy. And that is my message and request to you all. Thank you for the patient listening. And if you have any queries and questions, we'll take up in the this is one slide I just wanted to add in that about somebody had asked me the other day, how frequently have you to clean the air filters of the air conditioners? Now, if you're using HEPA filter in some individuals, because your unit might be equipped with many different types of filters, the air conditioners. If you ask a dealer, they will tell you what is it. It could be a HEPA filter, it could be an electrostatic or an electronic filter. Now, HEPA filters has to be cleaned every month, right? Like how Dr. Mahendra Perumal has rightly pointed out. Why every month? Because the chances of it getting clogged, because the filtration efficiency is more. The chance of getting it clogged is more and more. So it requires more frequent cleaning. The other filters and the efficiency is less, so the period of filtration should be less. Okay. And this is a picture of the filter in a split AC. This is how it looks like. I am sure nobody has actually opened up a case of a split AC and seen how it is. This is just for you to understand how it looks like if you happen to open up the AC and try to clean. And if you're looking for something, what is a so-called filter? This is how it looks like. And a clean filter. This is not the color which is going to be in your AC. It's going to be pitch black like this background of your slide. And once you clean it, definitely this is going to appear in this color. So make sure you remove only the air conditioner filter rather than the compressor. So only if you know the things, go and jump into that and try the process of filtration cleaning. And with that thing, I just conclude my presentation. Over to you, Mahendra.
Sir, what's your opinion about electric ion generator, negative ion generator units?
See, I didn't actually mention that much about, because there are many agents in the market claiming this sort of negative ions. What they do is basically they have electrically operated units, and they actually provide or produce a lot of the negative ions. So this ionizing molecules which is into the circulation is pushed into circulation like a fogging mechanism. So when the particles is actually reached and submerged with so-called many microbes or thing which has called positive attitude, where they have a positively charged ions, whichever is suspended in the air, mostly your microbes or whatever particles gets attached to the minus particles. And what they say is mechanical happen thing is, how do they act is they actually contact with these materials, and then automatically the other ones gets charged again, then another positive charge gets connected. So they actually create a small particle, and they create a larger particle out of multiple smaller particles and make them settle and sediment down, and they settle down. They do not say how it kills and things like that. So I don't know what's going to be the fate. They say
and the byproduct, if I am not wrong, the byproduct is also water. Part of it is.
True.
H2O
Yes.
is also a byproduct. We don't know where the water goes and settles.
Yes.
And the negative ions might be inhaled, and what the reaction it causes with the living lung tissues and all other things, again, that's an issue.
That is something for us to have an idea about, that there are things like that in the market. And definitely the scope, this has also been actually put up like one of the measure by CDC. I've seen in one of the articles, but then they have not recommended it strongly because it is not yet extensively studied, and it's not yet been come out with the statements by the regulatory bodies like OSHA or NIOSH or the CDC. So let us wait till then. Let us just have an information about this. Let us not use anything of these which we are not very sure. The manufacturer will definitely claim that you could be the most potent person and the strongest person to resist all the microbes. So let them say that, but then let us have an idea. You can keep it to yourself, and then later we can think about it.
I have something to add about the negative ions, if I may. Can I?
Please identify yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Ashish Shah from Mumbai. The negative ions are the same thing which are generated in a waterfall. And they are supposed to be absolutely safe. They are not like an ionizing radiation or anything like that. And they sort of coagulate with the dust particles and all the allergens, and they are found to be very, very effective. So most of these so-called higher filters, what we are talking of, they also have a component of negative ion dischargers. But if someone wants to save the cost, they can buy only an ionizer, which is available less than 10,000. Starting at $750.
See, but then one disadvantage with the ionizer, let me tell you, because the basically the area where it produces the ions, and that particular area, the throw is less. You're working in a clinic. You are working in a clinic with maybe 100 or 200 square feet area. What they do is basically they keep this unit next to you, so that the area around you is filled with this negative ions. So the microbes around you are sort of made heavier and settled somewhere else. So that's the only way it acts. So you're not actually getting a properly clean field around you. So in a way, I would say it would be okay in terms of, if I agree with you in terms of deficiency, but I won't actually recommend, because because I don't have any regulatory body recommendations stating that this is effective in terms of air purification and recommended strongly in dental clinics or areas where there is so much of this thing. That's my
No, Dr. Eapen, what I want to
please.
say is that is the reason why the air purifiers are now combining themselves with negative ion dispensers. So they act as one unit only. So
True.
most of the filters, what we are talking of, the air purifiers, they are negative ion ionizer plus air filtration with HEPA filters.
True.
That is what you get.
Yeah, it's basically joint effort.
Yeah, recently I saw Eureka Forbes coming up with a UV also in that.
Yes, but that is
with
just
a UV.
UV is just to sterilize the kind
Yeah,
of air
microbes.
which is sucked in.
So yeah, that is all. That is not
Yeah,
actually
so,
contributing to that. It's something like
Eapen.
yeah, please, because
Yeah,
all these
sorry,
HEPA
one
filters.
one
Now,
question.
no. Before that, let me answer Prashant's question. Or I'll take it that Prashant was actually talking about external filters. Vacuum filters.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we talk about that. But Anand, what is your question, please?
Yeah, see, suppose my clinic has got a exhaust and I am having a split AC. Now, what should I do regarding the door, which is that is the door which closes the clinic and between the door between the clinic and the corridor? It should be open or closed.
See, if there is any other source of air entry into your clinic other than the opening door, leave that open. If this particular door is the only point of air entry, then ideally to create that balance of circulation, it would be desirable and recommendable to leave the door open. But the problem there is your other operatory and this. It depends. Now, if that other operatory outside, if your waiting room, and if that is the area where you have created the negative, what happens is all the contaminated air from the operatory is going to get sucked into your waiting room. So that is where the importance. Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
because I sometimes feel I'm talking to myself. Okay.
No.
Because see, now that's the disadvantage of what and if your entry of air is your waiting room. The problem is now if you want to create the negative pressure, you have to leave the entry open door a little bit open. But the advantage is you're creating a negative pressure inside the operatory. But the disadvantage is that negative pressure is going to suck the contaminated air and then get into the waiting room. So don't do that. So that's where you're talking about.
No, my waiting room is far away. There is a lobby. The lobby is connected to 3 different clinics.
No.
So should the operating clinic door be open or closed if you have a suction on top, exhaust fan above and a AC
Closed.
Behind the chair?
Closed.
So should the door be closed or not? That's
No need. If you have an exhaust separately and if there's a portal of entry, then no need to keep a separate door open. If there's a portal of entry of air inside.
Door should be
It's
closed.
better to close, no? Otherwise,
Yeah.
the aerosol or what the thing can go out also.
That is why I told you, you're going to spread the contaminants across the entire jurisdiction of your clinic.
Yeah,
Sir,
Dr.
sir,
Saravanan BS has raised hand. Sir, Saravanan sir, you are there?
Yeah, can we discuss about the extraoral suctions, please? 5 minutes, if you have time,
Yeah,
all of you.
Yes.
Yes,
One more.
Sir.
You showed one chart to clean the AC heater.
Yeah.
So there it showed HEPA should be cleaned once in a month. But you said HEPA filters are very delicate and sensitive. We should not touch that, you said. But in that chart, as 1 month should be cleaned.
I'll tell you the reason why. Because HEPA has got 6 type of ranges filters. Now the ones what you're using in a regular AC doesn't have the filtration property of 0.3 micron. The HEPA regular filters. They are so-called as HEPA-like filters. They are not true HEPA filters. So they do not have the delicate nature and the filtration property of the regular HEPA filters. So there is no harming cleaning the regular, and that has to be done by your regular mechanic or the person who's known to do that. Okay, so that's the difference. So don't get me wrong with the HEPA filters which is used in air conditioner, which is actually what I call the HEPA-like filters, the efficiency of filtration of which is very much lesser than the regular HEPA filters what we were discussing all this time. Those are the ones who are delicate ones.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Sir, a small question, sir. Comparatively, your comparative study, which shows Sharp is better or Amway is better?
No, my comparative study, I find the practical thinking ability and the logical applications of each of you is the best.
No. Hello, sir.
Product size.
I think means that is what now each of one is matured enough to take our own decisions.
If I buy, I'll go for this particular product what I showed you, because I'm so convinced, and not because of using it. I would first get an opinion from somebody, for those who have used it. I'll do that first, and if at all, if I go for a HEPA filter, I'll go for something which is giving me so much of documents, so much of open status, and so much of references to go and check. So I would definitely go for a thing if my funds are available. Right now, I won't even think, because first let me buy some N95 mask. Then I'll decide.
Is there any air filters which are combines UV with air filtration, sir? Whatever the air is going to push out, is there any combination of UVs and air filters?
No, all these that extraoral high vacuum suction apparatus. Some of them, they have the extraoral. Now let us take up that particular point also. Now the use of extraoral high vacuum apparatus is actually mentioned, and actually now come up with a lot of boom, basically to reduce the amount of aerosol. Okay, to absorb the aerosol and to make it unidirectional, so that it doesn't get carried away across here and there. The logic and the idea is excellent, because like we are always, all the entire lecture I've been talking about creating pressure variation inside the operatory, so that the air inside goes to the other side. Even Anne was telling about creating that -2 pascals. All these was for to create a pressure variation, so that the air inside gets outside by the suction effect. Now if you can create that particular suction effect within the circumscribed area of production of aerosol, there is nothing like it. Okay, that is my logical comment on that. There is nothing like it. Now, other things what we have to think about that is, now if there is an efficient way of destroying the microbes, all the contents in the sucked in thing, if there is an effective mechanism to decontaminate or to disinfect all those sucked out aerosol, I will buy, definitely, if that doesn't come in my way of working. It should not be cumbersome for me. Like I only working on the patient and the location of the diameter, whatever the location of that extraoral high vacuum. If it is going to trouble, or if it is going to create and come in way with me, then I might think twice. Otherwise, it's a simple logical thing. Now, any suction high, why are we recommending a high vacuum instead of a regular vacuum in the present scenario? Because the high vacuum has got a more vacuum or the negative pressure, which can take out the particles. So in the same way, if you think about a machine or a unit which is built in with exclusive motor to create much more negative pressure within the circumscribed area of creation of the aerosol, why not think about it, as long as it is safe and it destroys the microorganisms absorb. That's my point on that.
Sir, I have a different view on this. Suppose you are using a regular chair side suction and you are sucking the oral fluids along with the air. So we suck out the air and the fluid, and the fluid and the air goes to the small filter in the chair below the spit in most of the chairs, and then the air is released again into the operatory. The same thing goes even if you use a high vacuum suction in the 400 dentistry also. The same thing goes. Is that air which is sucked from the oral cavity after getting filtered or depositing the fluid again re-entering the clinic is a hazard?
Definitely.
Sir, I'd like to add.
Please. So, is it answering Dr. Mahendra's question or?
Yes. I'll first answer that. So,
please.
When using an extraoral suction as well, the air. If you have a built-in suction unit which exits the air into the operatory itself, you're supposed to put a filter on that. So the DER company has come out with filters for the exit of air there itself. Even for their
filter is what type of filter is there?
Sir, it is air filter, sir.
No. What he's talking about is what microbes. What he wants to know is what is going with the fate of. See, all the talk is about decontamination, and you're sucking something.
It is about the suction after the fluid and air, whatever is sucked out.
Okay.
There is a let out of air.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning about.
So that is supposed to be thrown out through a filter. So even for a centralized section, they have come out with a filter. So I can share that.
Does that mean using a chair suction or a high vacuum suction or a bottle suction in the operatory is hazardous and we should always go for a central suction with the filter attached outside the operatory? Does it
centralized suction is much better than a suction which is kept inside the operatory. So if you have a separate room where the suction is being operated, that's fine.
And Ethan sir, do you want to mention any location of this air filters in relation to the suction exhaust, or any how to you have told about the thing, considering this exhaust from the air from the suction, how do we comment on this? How do we combat that? Most of the chairs have clinics have a chair attached to suction only, and it is not possible to build up a central suction also. What's any solutions for that?
Yeah, because I have a different viewpoint on that particular point of view, because the built-in chairs, the suction what is given, I'm not talking about the high vacuum suction, the regular built-in suction apparatus which is given by the clinic is first and foremost thing. They do not have a proper evacuation mechanism. Somebody, I'm getting some irritation, some noise. Somebody.
Yeah,
Shanmuga walk up. I think. Yeah, fine. Okay. Now basically.
Yeah,
so the regular thing actually doesn't give you an effective one in terms of power. Second, it doesn't actually disinfect or eliminate the microbes you're sucking in along with the organisms. And third, that is actually going to be an excellent substrate or a storage for frequent post-operative infections and the microbe within also. Now, what I use in my clinic, I use a portable suction, not the bottle one, the regular bottle. We can use that also. What I use, I have a fridge my technician has made for. It's just costing me 6,500 rupees. Now, even the portable suction, the apparatus with 2 bottles, if even that, now that's basically coming out with the suction unit, and then it's actually coming onto the bottle and then into the oral cavity. Now the tube what is fixed into that, okay, now you actually, another one thing is 2 things you have to be worried about when you're using a suction apparatus. There is something called as a reverse flow. Now when you're putting the suction tip in the patient mouth like this, and then you're working, the moment the patient closes the eyes, closes the mouth, what happens is there's a negative pressure inside created. Now, if your one work is over, you put the other patient on chair, and then you have taken a fresh sterile suction tip, bend and put in the mouth, and by natural sort of instinct, the patient tends to close the mouth. So closure of the mouth creates a negative pressure inside. So whatever was gone, the last few centimeters or the last few mLs of
coming back from the tube.
The tube content of the contaminated solution is going to come back. So the previous patient is going to give the new patient with the content and something for his memory to get. So that is something what you have to be very careful about. So never do that. So that is the importance of disinfecting your suction tube as well as the suction tubings after every procedure. That's very important. Okay. Now let me tell about how I'm using. I have this regular symbol that 5 liter bottle, okay, which is connected to this thing and the suction. So what I use is, let me tell you, every day morning my staff, okay, the bleaching powder, 1% bleaching powder, the regular bleaching powder, the household bleach, what you take, like 1 teaspoon is equivalent to 4.5 grams of that. So 4.5 mg of that. So that you put in 1 liter solution, you get the 1% solution. So in that, she puts about 10 or 20 ml of solution in the bottle, then goes and keeps on this portable apparatus and closes the lid, which is actually one rubber bush thing. And advantages now, that's there from the morning till evening. Since the bottle is closed, the chlorine gas inside, whatever hypochlorite content is remaining with the same efficacy. There's no escape of gas. And whatever suction what I do, okay, after every patient, it is just coming into this pot collecting tank, which is actually a solution mixed with your hypochlorite. So it's basically a treated contaminated spit or the blood content which is coming into this thing. I'm not talking about solid as spirits. I'm talking about this liquid, the saliva or the blood content which comes to the bottle is getting and falling into the 1% bleaching solution which is held in the bottle. So that way I can make sure that the contaminants are aspirated and aspirated contaminants are disinfected. Now what to do with the tubing? After every procedure, I make sure my assistant, if I use that disposable suction tip, that is discarded the plastic ones, and what we do is immediately after that, the surface is disinfected with your regular alcohol swipe, and then I take 2 cups of this bleaching powder solution, what I prepared in that 1 liter bottle, and just make the operation to work. So this 120 ml of 2 cups of water of this bleaching powder of 1% solution will be sucked in through the tubings and then gone into the bottle. There's no mechanical, there's no metal parts coming in between. It's the tubing, the pipe, and then it's going through the suction mechanism and going and draining into the glass bottle, which is only having a 1% hypochlorite solution there. So that's the advantage of that. Now, if I do a surgery, I first actually take a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and then suck it first so that the organic debris, everything is there because of the evaporation just goes, and then I use the bleach. Because that no extra cost is 1%. Now, 250 grams of your household bleach of 50 grams per liter is costing you only 23 rupees. That can be used for how many number of times? So simple thing is 1 teaspoon of that in 1 liter of water will give you 1% of hypochlorite solution, which is a recommended disinfectant as per the Center for Disease Control, CDC. So if you use that to suck, definitely, as long as it's not communicating or contacting with any metal parts, hypochlorite is okay. Only in the tubing after a long time might get, you might have to change. That's part of the thing like that.
But that's fine. But does it answer the air disinfection from the suction?
No, from the suction I'm talking, it's getting sucked into the bottle of the air column there.
Yes, sir. But just passing the air through the fluid will not be enough to disinfect, sir.
No, it's going settling there. It's going settling there because the chlorine vapors, the chlorine solution has got the vapor because it's not just direct disinfection.
The vapor doesn't stay there, sir. If I'm wrong, because the air has to move out.
Because it's a closed container. It's a closed container as far as the bottle is concerned, and the chlorine gas is held within the container. Like how your glutaraldehyde, everything. Why do you ask them to keep it closed? Because you don't want the effective communication to be vaporized outside. So same way, the vapor will be within the confine. If you take the bottle,
whenever you suck, the chlorine gas will be continuously diluted by the sucking air.
Dr. Mahindra.
That's why I'm telling you, put more 1%. As I'm putting 1% instead of the other
Dr. Varghese, yeah, please.
Yeah. So if you're referring to a confidence air with a built-in motor,
okay,
there's a pipe coming down.
Yeah.
You connect a additional pipe onto that pipe and leave it outside. Two things happen. One, the air which comes out of the suction is let out on outside.
Okay.
Second is the sound which the suction produces is much more lesser.
Okay.
So if you just connect a pipe and let it out, two advantages happen. So that is
maybe like how you got a UV for the duct, we should keep a UV for the exhaust pipe also, or we should have a heating chamber for the moving exhaust air to move out.
I've shared the DAR bacterial filter for air onto this WhatsApp group.
Okay.
For those who are talking about this, wants to know about the disinfection of suction, this is a very effective and simple mechanism of using 1% hypochlorite. You can also use your hydrogen peroxide also, but hydrogen peroxide, what happens, keeps of effervescence. If there's blood in that, then if you want to go for little, costly stuff to suit your sort of, manner and elegance, you can think about a product from DER, M15, or if you want to use, there's a product from Septodent, okay, it is called Aseptol, okay, it's a product from Septodent, which can be used for a disinfection of suction unit. These are the products. Yeah, that's it. Any more questions?
So there are a few questions, one or two questions I have noted down. There are a few questions regarding the concentration of hypochlorite used to clean the filters in AC. Dr. Varghese?
Hydrogen peroxide. I was talking about hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, hydrogen peroxide.
Normal 2%.
Normal 2%. As undiluted form or?
Yeah, undiluted. So it will cost.
There is a question like RAP01 HEPA. Is it equal to HEPA 14? Any inputs around that?
These are all technical terms. Technical terms. Now, if I ask you sometime, if I give you my house name and somebody else's house name and ask you which is mine, it's something like that for us now. Technical terms and names are so much in the market. So definitely let's go for the filtration efficiency and the ACH, which I told you, your clinic area or in terms of volume, and then your budget and finance. All these in together, think about, and you only make a choice of this.
Okay.
So what's the trade name, Thomas sir? What is the trade name of the HEPA filter that you were saying, sir?
I would like you to call me Epen because Thomas is my father's name. So as if you are always calling me father.
Sorry, sir.
No problem. Okay. Epen Thomas.
Sorry, sir.
No problem at all. Yeah. Tell me. What was your question, please?
What's the trade name of the filter that HEPA filter that you were saying, sir?
Atmosphere Mini.
It's an Amway product.
It's an Amway product. You can log in your thing and see Amway.
So Dr. Epen. Yeah. Dr. Epen, I'm Dr. Ashish again from Mumbai. I have a suggestion.
Yeah, please.
We have been, ever since this group has been started, we have discussed at length. People like you, Prashant, Dr. Mahendra and all, you have enriched us with a fantastic knowledge. But what is the harm in suggesting and coming to a conclusion. Okay, our suggestion is that we buy this for extraoral suction. We recommend this brand. Now, people, I'm sure the people who are inside this group, everybody knows who are who and who is who, and we know and we trust you guys 100%. Like if Prashant tells me, Ashish, I'm buying this, he can buy on my behalf. You know that? Means he can take a call on my behalf. I would trust him like that. So why don't we come to conclusions?
No,
that
I agree. I understood.
Okay, means what? Means everyone has the right to choose.
True.
Means
That's
you
the
can
point.
say, I will buy this, but I may not agree with this. But at least come out with suggestion, no?
Oh yes,
This
why
is the
not?
dealer,
So you
this is
talk
the
in terms of
dealer.
product. You ask the product
Yes,
and tell
I'm
them
talking
we'll
in
tell
terms of product.
because the only thing is
Ashish, I agree with you what you're saying. Now, it's important that we come out with some conclusions. Now, I have a question to Varghese and Epan. You were speaking about this extraoral suction, which works out to around 1.5 lakhs, right?
No.
Varghese?
No,
sir,
no, sorry.
No, the DER suction.
65.
The DER extraoral.
That is a general suction. That is not for extraoral suctions. That is a general suction. I was referring to that as a, that is our centralized suction unit, and they are added a bacterial filter to the air which is coming out.
Okay. Now, what I believe at this
Prashant,
point.
sorry,
Yeah.
Prashant,
Yeah.
one sec. The Chesa, Unicorn, Denmark, and there is a third company.
18.
These three of us are marketing
18.
Not 18.
marketing
40.
18 company. Okay.
also.
Yeah, 40, 60.
Okay.
You're getting different ranges.
So most of them. Okay. So most of them are recommending one suction, some DS 1000. Now the problem here sitting in Bombay is that they all are saying you have to book it. When we get it, we'll give it to you. So they give a date, 20th something, but they don't mention which month. Okay, means they give a date when it will come. So now the problem is that we as a group, if somebody like you or Dr. Epan or whoever is there, I don't know all of them, but I know you, Prashant, very well. Therefore, I'm asking you. If you tell that these are the brands, these are the rates, whosoever wants, we can tell them.
Dr.
that
Ashish,
these are the number of products.
See,
Why don't we
Ashish,
do that?
the reason why we are all debating here is because we are all confused. All of us are confused. So it'll always be good that we have a debate and then come to a conclusion. Yeah. So now coming to that point, I have a question. I've not completed my question. Ashish, just hold on. Hold on, Ashish. See, my question is, we have our suction machines, what is that? The dry and wet dry and wet vacuum cleaners. Yes.
Yeah.
High vac. So
High-vac.
what if we use typical funnel kind of
Prashant, we have lost your audio.
what if we use? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And now we can hear.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. What if we use a funnel kind of a tip for this particular high vac, and then use it as an extraoral suction? What is going to happen? I'm just going. I know I'm just crossing all limits, and I just wanted to bring in some kind of common sense into this.
Sir,
that's the only reason.
Sir, two things I would like to add. One is that the power of the suction. There was a suggestion in the beginning that you connect a funnel-like thing to the high volume suction and it works. I tried it; it doesn't work. Aerosols don't go in as efficiently as required. Second thing, I have ordered 65,000 rupees worth of extraoral suction. As soon as it comes, I will give a suggestion whether it works or not. I just absolutely no idea whether it works or not, but I have ordered it. Whether it works or not, I don't know. So third thing is that if you are planning to put a vacuum cleaner inside the operating chamber, or if you keep it outside and then you bring it in, as the distance increases, the suction principles does reduce with a vacuum cleaner. So that is another issue. And the diameter of the opening or the funnel is very important. So as it becomes bigger, the amount of aerosol sucked in is also increased. So you need greater power to generate suction with a larger diameter opening. You understand? So.
No, I
Prashant,
agree, but there's no harm in trying this out and checking this
Yes,
ourselves.
definitely, sir. Definitely.
Yeah.
Prashant, in the
Prashant,
picture
can
you
I
add-
shared, what is the funnel used for in that middle part of the DAR suction?
So that is as substitute for spittoon actually.
No, no,
Okay.
not a substitute for spittoon. I think he's sucking aerosol.
It is a no. In the DAR suction, that is a substitute for spittoon. So most of the clinics are avoiding spittoons because of splatter. So that is a apparatus where it is used as a spittoon. So if the patient wants to spit, they use this cup.
can I add something
Yeah,
to
Ashish.
what?
Ashish, yeah, please.
Yes, Ashish.
Yeah. Prashant, these high vacs are nothing else but apna vacuum cleaners only. Try to understand that. Vacuum cleaners now come with HEPA filters. The only problem would be that you don't have a 4-unit arm to stay at a place on its own. So you already need someone to hold it, and they make a lot of sound.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. Otherwise, and of course now you can have as a silencer a thicker HEPA filter, a carbon filter to remove the odor and all. But technically, they both are the same. There is not a difference. If you study the design and you study the motor, it is the same. It is just the insulation which makes the sound. And the 65,000 what they are talking, they say it is going to make the sound which is less than 60 decibels. So I asked him, what is the 60 decibel? Okay, it would be like an ultrasonic cleaner. That's what they said. I don't know about it because nobody has seen it. We have just seen the video.
Correct.
And what they are saying.
Exactly,
that
sir.
is all.
Exactly.
Ashish, there is one more problem. Vacuum cleaner is jadu. You can't put jadu in patient's mouth, no?
No, but
Exactly.
extra oral is not put in the mouth. It is outside. So you have to funnel.
No, I'm just telling. I'm just telling the patient when they see.
See, so basically, that's a
We
point.
have to
Like,
minimize the expenditure.
see, that is
Yes.
true. Like,
Basically, you have to offer solutions to practitioners, especially even at the lower level, which are practical and which are you're just applying your common sense. That's all.
Prashant, I agree. I agree with what you said, and 100% agree that we should try whatever possible, whether how much of innovative. But if you are actually sure about the methods of
Results.
disinfection, and the result will definitely it will suck it out, because like what Ashish was telling, it's simply nothing but a device or an equipment which creates suction, and the entry part, depending upon the diameter, it sucks more amount of aerosol, and depend upon the pressure of the motor, it takes in. But what we are worried about or concerned about is what is going to be the fate of the microbes and things like. If there's an efficient way of disinfecting that, I tell you, I'm going to buy for it. That's my personal opinion.
It should be possible. See, if we are going to disinfect the chamber with some sodium hypochlorite, that should work.
Now, see,
I
let
don't
it work.
think you need to. It should work.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Then why don't? Yeah. So then why don't we consider? See, I'm not saying that this is we have to experiment with this. That's the most important.
Prashant,
We've got to first of all, yes, Ashish.
the newer vacuum cleaners, you get a vertical design also, and they have HEPA filters also inside. Only thing I don't know what grade of HEPA filters they use. That we have to find out.
That we have to find out.
You'll have to find out. But it's the same thing, and of course you'll have to have someone to hold that. Because those. Sorry.
Yeah, true.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
And there was a question.
Ashish, you were mentioning about HEPA filters. Where exactly does a filter come in?
The filter will come in between the motor and your arms, because that acts as a silencer also. And whatever the air is sucked in or the aerosol is sucked in, it will filter out before it is cast onto a sort of a theli. So that's how it is.
Yeah, actually, no. Almost this filter is there in all the vacuum cleaners. For example, if you use a wet and dry vacuum cleaner, you need to remove the filter and the chemoise bag. I think the filter will be something similar to the diesel filter what we change in the vehicles. Almost something similar to that.
George had asked a question about hydroxychloroquine in the beginning. We didn't take it up till now. We'll just because only more than 2 hours now, and I'm so happy.
Very late, sir, today.
Yeah, and only 40 people still there. I don't know. They didn't realize that the time is running, or they're all slept up. I don't know. Whatever. Now the question. Yeah, the question about the hydroxychloroquine, whether it is indicated or not, is the question what Dr. George George had asked. Now, the ICMR, the ICMR has come out, the National Regulatory Body, in deciding policies regarding health concerns, actually has come out with a recommendation of using hydroxychloroquine 400 milligrams twice a day on the first day in healthcare workers, then for every 7 weeks, once in a week. Now, that is a recommendation which is actually come out by ICMR for healthcare providers who are at risk of getting exposed, or who, like for us, like that is what the recommendation is concerned. Now, what he was asking me is my take on that. Now, if I say, like, if you ask me, just because the regulatory body has asked this guideline, I won't take it because I don't have any scientific evidence. Even they don't have any scientific evidence that this particular drug is able to prevent the disease. Now, hydroxychloroquine has been used effectively in treating patients in Wuhan, and the studies conducted also say that they bring about a very rapid recovery of the pneumonia-like condition. They bring about a very rapid recovery in terms of the suffocation and all other discomforts, but that is again as part of the regular other mechanisms. So it is not at all a curative drug, but it's an adjunctive drug in terms of relieving the symptoms in patients with the so-called coronavirus infection, the person said. So the study was done in treating, not in finding out the efficacy of this particular drug in preventing. Mind you, that's one thing. That's why I'm not yet convinced about going for a hydroxychloroquine as a preventive disease, because no studies tells you that this will prevent. Okay, then in that case, it's something like, to prevent fever, if I take anti-inflammatory, it's something like that, isn't it? So I know the temperature will come down, but you can't just rely on that part. So in my point of view, if I say I won't take that unless that is used as an adjunct for treatment. And another one thing, even the cause or the fatality or the mortality reasons are being changed now, because the earlier it used to be taught about the pneumonia and the complication associated with that was the fatality cause. But now studies have shown that it is nothing but disseminated intravascular coagulation. DAC and multiple thrombi at distant sites have actually been, the autopsy reports have come out with findings saying that this is a cause. So we are all in a state of confusion whether this or that, whatever is the cause. But till date, I haven't come across any article which states that the use of hydroxychloroquine will prevent you from getting infected. That is not right. They have recommended considering the treatment efficacies of this drug on patients who are suffering from COVID-19. So that's why if you ask my take, I won't take it, because I'm not convinced about the rationale of using this drug, and because I don't have any reasons to believe that this will prevent the infection happening to me. That's my take on hydroxychloroquine.
Even the reason why they are recommending HCQ is mainly because it suppresses the symptoms, and it helps relieve the discomfort of the patient. That is what I'm told, and that is the reason why they insist that all the healthcare workers assisting COVID disease patients
that
are
is
given
wrong.
this.
That's what you're telling about. It relieves the complaint, it relieves the symptoms, is for those who are actually suffering from it. That's why I said this is effective in treating, not in preventing. What you're talking is all about.
Not in prevention.
We are talking about prevention part. What is the ICMR's recommendation? I'm not a
but
person
all
to question
healthcare
ICMR.
workers. No, but all healthcare workers who are assisting COVID patients are being given this. It is mandatory.
I'm talking about us. Don't we consider us as healthcare workers?
But many of us are working in high-risk zones. For example, now Ashish is in Bombay. Ashish, are you there?
Ashish
is in Bombay.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. So Ashish is definitely working in a high-risk zone. So definitely, I mean, taking an opinion from a physician, maybe he has to have this.
Can I add?
The ICMR is recommending. Why more physicians? Because the regulatory body is asking you to take.
It is already recommended.
Because with no evidence that this will prevent. This is being found to be effective in treating. Treatment is done for a person who's already infected. If I am not infected, now for the scare of getting hit by a car, do I stay back at home all the day? That's not the way.
And Prashant, the ICMR may be recommending, but one of the top doctors here, and ICMR has recommended because Trump imported a lot of it. I don't know for what. They can be wrong. So forget about it. I'm not taking anybody.
Sir, my brother-in-law is a pulmonologist in UK, Bedford, and hydroquinone is hydroxychloroquine is only used in patients who are suffering from pneumonia, and only once they develop pneumonia it is given, not before, and it is not taken by him even when he is entering COVID wards. So it is not recommended. It is not at all recommended. Both his kids got COVID and they are perfectly all right. They just developed cold-like symptoms and they escaped. So
it's simple. When you travel, you put your seat belts and travel now. Prevent accidents. Same way you standard operating procedures, protocols, transmission spread. Follow that. Let us not just depend on something like which the so-called somebody just because somebody has recommended. If you're not convinced, don't go for it. I am not convinced.
And
it has got anti-inflammatory effect also, I think, little bit.
That I need a NSAIDs for me, or a Meftal for why should I take?
Yeah,
I'm saying it has got
NSAIDs work. NSAIDs work in COVID patients. That's what they say now.
Again, COVID patients. You are again talking about COVID patients. I'm not talking about
COVID patients. No, that is what I'm saying. No. See, all these patients with rheumatoid arthritis who've been on steroids, they are free of problems because this is an inflammatory mechanism. That's what it says. So it's a mode of what do you say, relieving the symptom. That's all. But as you said, and not only that, HCQ also has got cardiac side effects.
Yes, definitely.
That is another danger aspect which HCQ is associated with.
So it's your choice. So you choose how to die. You want a cardiac arrest or you want to get bitten by a virus?
Acha, Prashant had the news about the doctor dying in Bombay, Dr. Torne. That it is said, I don't know how far it is true. Okay, he was practicing with all the PPE and everything. Still he got it. That
I believe his wife is a nurse.
And therefore he got it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Right. Anyway,
she got it, and that's how he got it.
Even with the PPs on, it doesn't mean like the problem of as we have discussed, the duffing and how the atmosphere is controlled is very crucial. That's why we all are
right.
As a Dr. Ashish, you are asking to regarding the brands. The problem is there are many armamentarium with us. We don't even know whether this thing works or not. For example, today's discussion, we take a negative ion generator. Right. We want to know what to consider in the brands available and what not to consider among the materials first. Whether you should consider a UV, the electric ion generator. So we have recommending in the basic things what products to be considered, what are safe to be used, and what there are no deleterious effects. So we are focusing on that. Of course, there will be a lot of products still coming up. So just the narrowing down thing that depends upon the observer, they can decide upon the factors what has been discussed. I think
fair enough.
How about the full face mask?
For me.
Yeah, thank you.
Full face shield face mask, Dr. Eapen?
Yeah, what is the question about face shield?
Full face shield mask from 3M, which has got a filter in it.
With the cartridge. I think he's asking about
with the cartridge. Correct.
No, I don't know much about that. Basically, face shield is actually acting as a source or a barrier.
This is a full face shield where it covers the whole face and it has got a filter in it. Like Mahendran said, it is
it's a 3M mask with a filter on both the sides. No,
I can help you out with this. So
please.
What happens is that if it still needs pre-filters which are similar to N95, and the cost of those are also similar to N95 mask. So it beats the purpose. So the total cost of your cartridge plus your pre-filters plus the face shield will add up to quite a bit. So it's like 6,500 to 10,500 depending on
10,000.
Correct. So depending on the cartridge.
And the cartridge, they say you can use it for about 40 hours.
Correct.
And you are supposed to change it after that.
So if you consider using an N95 with a normal face shield, it works out cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it does not give you additional protection anyways.
Sure.
So regarding this photo ionizers, it's approved by IMA, sir. One product called HYGIA, Hygia. It's approved by IMA and a lot of GPs are using it, sir.
True, but then we can't actually, because if IDA recommends something can be adopted.
Thank you. Thank you all
so
of you.
much.
Thank you
Okay.
so much,
Bye
Dr.
bye.
Eapen, Dr. Prashad, every one of you.
Eapen sir? Hello?
As though we spent almost 2.5 hours actually at
Yeah,
this
it's a
particular
very
late
long
time.
session, sir, today.
Yeah, but I'm still having 35 people in the crowd. I don't know what is the reason. It's no other place to go, or maybe I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm really happy to have you all. Okay, so looking forward to meet you all for the next session. So we'll be
This is
actually.
the topic nobody knows about it. And I'm very surprised to see
Yeah.
very less
Dr.
number of
Eapen.
people participating.
Hunting for
Moreover, this is
something.
just like a serial now. We can't miss the episodes.
Very true, sir.
COVID
So-
dentistry serial.
So I hope. So I hope we are giving you all some messages or some
with
take
no
home messages.
ads. COVID industry serial without any ads. I think.
So I hope all of you are getting some benefit with the discussions, or you want us to change a
Yes.
different way, or so you're getting some messages, or what is it? I don't know. We are not getting any feedback, so maybe we should
Sir,
get
it's
some
great
feedback.
talk,
No,
sir.
I
Thanks for
think we should meet after 15 days to conclude on it. We'll have some more things to clear
No,
out.
actually, we
No,
have a
no, I
lot of
think
things to
Dr.
discuss regarding
Eapen-
the product still.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Eapen, I think all of us will agree that this is one of the most scientific forums and the unbiased forums. We are joined and we are participating in it. There's no doubt about it, and we are very blessed to be a part of this group.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
It's a great
Right.
honor
Thing is-
for all.
Right.
One more thing is, don't add new people now because they'll ask simple question, what is N95 mask? So we have crossed all episodes. So don't add new people. Let us continue the discussion.
No, you see, a beginner. See, let us not think in that way. Any person who's agreed or having any urge for knowledge, let us consider everyone in the right way possible. Maybe with the two discussions or two messages, like how many people still ask in the group, but we always point them to the direction. Let us not
Right.
neglect.
I truly
part of-
appreciate you are taking a lot of pain to address all the questions and on time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so
Someone
much.
I can
Thank
see
you.
always,
This is
Eapen sir
wonderful.
is always typing something.
Yeah.
Every comment comes within 10 to 15 minutes, you get a reply. Something or other.
Because
you have
we have to be
full
prompt.
into it, I think, sir.
We have to be
Right,
prompt.
right.
We have to be prompt in that.
No,
Anyway,
one
thank
more
you all
thing,
once.
sir. Just want to add one
Okay.
thing. Sir, one thing, sir.
Please.
Everything is going on fine and fantastic. The thing is, when we discuss a product, just when we conclude, we should shortlist one product, sir. In the sense.
Yes.
That makes us more commercialized. That I thought
No,
like
no,
in a
no,
way.
no.
Not
I don't think so, sir. I
And
told
we'll
you
discuss.
You
We'll
have
discuss
done
among
we
the.
should.
We'll discuss among the admins and we'll take a call on that because we should
Might
not be
be,
highlighting. any
might be,
particular-
Dr. Eapen,
Yeah.
you have gone into so much of details of filters and microns. People are trusting you on that behalf. Now you are
Yes.
well informed, so you will be able to assess 1, 2, 3, 4 products and tell something. They are just waiting for that one piece of word. I think that is the
Yes.
reason they are asking.
And I now consider it's an excellent opportunity in this COVID scenario to get some royalty and earn out of money rather than practice.
Dr. Eapen, it
Yeah.
would be a
That's up to your
pleasure.
choice because you are.
It
you
would be
are
a
taking
pleasure
lot of
have
interest.
to pass on some royalty if you take it. Thank you.
No, please, no, please. I would just like to be with you
That's
all
okay.
and help as much as possible. That's it.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Bye-bye.
all.
Bye-bye.
Mahendra,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
okay,
Good
just
night.
let's
Good
call
night.
the day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the effort, Eapen,
Good
sir.
night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Great
Good night.
effort, yes.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Good night,
Good
sir.
night. Good night.